Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and thank you, as always, for stopping by and taking the time to chat about the general market today. I guess. Yesterday, where'd we leave you? Oh yes, I was like, okay, we're gonna challenge the downtrend. At which point, let's see if we can hold it and base above it. And look what we got to do yesterday, exactly as predicted, and then expanding off of that line, which is really good, and gapping up again this morning. That's fantastic. That's right as rain. We also had an invalidation of a bearish order block here when we blow through it. And then retesting it is going to convert it to a bullish breaker block, which is really good. And, this is something that we've seen and gone through multiple times. One of my favorite setups. And now pairing that with a downtrend breakout, it's just beautiful right here the other day. And ever since then, we've just been going up. So, everybody's like, oh, the AI bubble, the AI bubble. I don't buy it. When's the last time the mainstream media has told you the truth? Oh, wait, not once? That's crazy. And yet you still listen to them? Oh my gosh. Doesn't mean that there's not an AI bubble, but if it's going to pop, they're certainly not going to give you the heads up about it. I had a crazy thought that uh, if the files are going to get released, that's going to hurt the market. And then, so they use a cover story to sell their positions, right? We've seen SoFi unload their NVIDIA, 5 billion worth the other day. Could be things like this, right? Where these larger players unload massive amounts of their stock while saying it's the AI bubble, right? And then the actual news hits where the files rock the market, and then the real fear sets in, and these people have already unloaded under the fake guise of a bubble that maybe isn't so. Um, Again, not that it isn't there and isn't building with the hyperscalers. I know Murray's going on an absolute rampage here. He's clickbaiting people to the 25th, which I think is kind of silly. While he writes his short report, he's reviewing all of chatbots' suggestions. But it's the boy who cried market crash, as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't mean that he's not going to be right again, but how many times can you call it and be wrong about it? Every like 6 months he's doing it or something, which is fine. I get it. People eat it up, but I don't think you're gonna know about it. Me, yeah. If it's gonna happen, right? There's no way the mainstream media gets told about it beforehand. Anyways, we were looking good. Market's looking good. We got that downtrend breakout. If we look at this on the 1 day, it wasn't a very big downtrend, but nonetheless, still there. And we filled both of our gap ups from our last downtrend breakout and market structure shift. Of course, this remains making higher lows, right? So all that is good. Let's see if we can make a higher high on that 1 day and blow out this all time high here for the stonks doing stonk things. And we did get a new gap up the other day, which is great. And this potentially could be another one. We're going to have to wait and see how the market opens this morning. On that note, Bitcoin is kind of looking like it's bottoming off of this sell side, right? So really good pickups here if you're a crypto freak. I personally don't care for it, but I do track it for just liquidity levels, right? Market go up or market go down. It's that simple. Specifically on the weekend, but take a larger reference on it. And put to call ratio is continuing to climb. People buying more puts than there are calls. So people are positioning themselves for a retracement. But as the market, it loves to make you wrong. So it's just kind of eating those puts up as far as I'm concerned. We'll see how that unfolds in the weeks to come. And everything's just chilling, whatever. So the morning watch list. I know usually I'm getting these videos out after all my trades. But what if we could talk about things before they happen, right? Wouldn't that be better? On that note, Beyond Meat came out. The earnings were dog shit. We're going to have to wait for volume. You got to wait for volume on something like this. And then, because it's just, whale teeth, right? This is toothbrush trading. Very, very bad. It shows that there is no liquidity here. And that's not great. But what it does is it provides a low daily average. which is going to walk down our 30-day average from 350 million, which is a lot. That is a lot of volume. And the reason it's so high is because this wasn't always a a $2, $8 stock. It was 50 cents once, right? So it was able to parse mass amounts of volume, but it's got to cool down. So we're either A, waiting for that volume to come back in, or B, waiting for a lower band break of the 150 gap, and then we can play it up to 2. I know a lot of people are interested in this, asking me about it, so we do want to talk about it. It's worse than Bitcoin, though, as far as I'm concerned. On the dog shit scale, I buy my beans in a can. Thank you very much. But technical trading is technical trading. If the volume hits, we have an entry model. We're going to play it. And then, for today, we see BEEM is out on the scanners. Ooh, that's not good. And we're just kind of watching, the market's been really bad as of late for small caps. Mid caps with news doing okay. Everything else really struggling, right? So, BEEM, they're getting an award for a contract here. Nice gap up on that news and holding it a little bit, failing to break, that pre-market high and just selling it all off, that's really gross. So, similar to what we've been seeing this week is you get a news pop, and then it gives it back, right? So if you're in really early, you can scalp it up, but I wouldn't want to chase anything this week until conditions change. I'll say AMZE. Up next, extending a partnership with Adobe Express, expanding platform access to creators in India, which there are a ton of people, but does anyone even buy Adobe anymore? Right? I thought we were all using free programs at this point. Adobe's freaking expensive, dude. A business model that works. One that just squeezes its consumers for every dime. But, look at this. It's the same kind of theme, right? Where we get this news pop. If you can scalp it up, great. But then it just gives it all back. But what I like here, this is holding the 200 really nice, right? Like the red line here. You see how it's just support, and now we trend off of it. This could be pretty good if you can get it maybe back to the 200, where your risk reward is just a little bit better than here, with a stop loss below the trend line here. Any ads on the 200, I think, are worth a risk. We got a little itty bitty market cap. Our average volume is, not that high, 300K. And our daily volume's already at 5 million. So if this volume can sustain itself, continue to flow, there might be a play here for us today. And some room to grow, right? Like we got our highs at $1. We're down at 68 cents. 30% price improvement potential on a managed tight risk. I'll allow it. I'm going to keep my eyes on this. I like that. SLRX is up next, announcing pricing of 7 million public offering, which we do not like. But it must have been at a premium to the market. Let's check that out. What was the price of the offering? SLRX, Salarius Pharmaceuticals. There's our offering. $1.50 a share. So why would anyone want to buy this over $1.50? That's my question to you. Now, we have seen things like that go before, but it's just not in my tea box. This is not a cup of tea I'd like to drink here. But at $1.16, hammer it, right? Hammer it up to $1.50. Really good buys, and then, they're really good sells here up at $3. Holy, that's 100% premium to what it needs to be. And then just, all those sellers take control and walk it back down to the $1.50 mark, which is what it's worth, right? And then, it's kind of trading at a little bit of a premium to that. So am I in on this above $1.50? I don't think so. That's not for me. FMFC has no news. What it does have is some volume last night, right? Got some volume, trend holds, pops again, trend holds, morning gap down below the 200 and reject. But if we can reclaim this 200 and volume can come back in, because it's not looking great. So it's 30-day average, 1 million, current day volume, 1.3. So you see the difference between that and BEEM, right? Or not BEEM, sorry, AMZE. where they've got the 300K average, but the 5 million, right? That's quite a bit better than 1 million and 1.4 million, right? So you want the ratio to be extended here. This is barely 1.5, right? Whereas the other one is multitudes higher. So not looking great, but it's on the watch list. We got it. Not everything we look at looks great. It's a lot about scanning. And that's part of the process. Maybe you don't see a lot. Is everything that I look at well, actually, no, we share the eyes a lot, and then you'd find the entry models, right? Like I can't just buy this willy nilly. That's crazy. You're not going to be a successful trader that way. But we see on if, for example, was it MZE? Yeah, maybe a potential trade here with better volume, but we need a better entry that we're getting there. Let's see if this can hold one final time, right? Before we take it, and then our trade would look something like this with the stop loss just below this trend line, below the 200. Give it a little room to breathe, right? You might get a wick, and then get your entries, like I said, as close to that as possible, and then you can start to scale out right away, right? And then by the time you get up to $1, that's going to be like a 5-to-1 risk reward or something. Yeah, really good risk reward up here. So the potential is here for a nice entry model versus that FMFC. Just to just to show the difference between the two. There's no real entry model here. If the 200 held, then maybe, right? But there's just such little volume. I'm not comfortable playing this reversal signal. It's probably a false set, as we see. And it's a lot of scanning. I'm looking at everything until something looks good enough, and then usually when something looks good enough, everyone slowly finds it and globs on together, right? So it's a lot of looking. Lucy getting some action last night and gapping down, but holding the 200, right? Terrible volume this morning. Let's see if it can reclaim and hold. Nothing fancy here. This had news 7 days ago, and then TRUG doing something this morning as well and dying. So it's very like you could tell that this is not a play. You can tell that this is not a play, right? But this is what's on the scanner right now. These are some of the only few things that are here, right? I don't really see too much. There's like some Chinese plays, CAS, which I stay away from. I'm not looking at anything that's from Hong Kong. Not my cup of tea. Even though this might play, I'm gonna wait and see. It's nothing. I'm gonna get in on this right away. Wuhan, China, even that's not even Hong Kong. Woof. It has a potential. These stocks are crazy. They can go parabolic, but also liquidate in a similar fashion. So, what else? LFS, maybe we could take a look at. This is a little bigger. Had some action yesterday into close, right? Giving it back, but maybe we get a reclaim here. Maybe we get some volume coming in here. I've got no market cap on this. Let's scroll down here. We see market cap 300 million, and let's confirm that on FinViz. And we see, 300 million here. So a little bit heavier than I like to play. I'm kind of like a sub 50 million kind of guy, unless you've got great news. And then what is there news here to support that? What's going on? I'm in the dark. I don't know. 6 days ago, not really. Contract could be, like, I guess, delayed. It's not a good contract either. It's like pretty fluff PR to me. BKYI has news. That's interesting. I don't think it's good though. And yeah, it's just like a lot of news scanning, right? This is rejecting that gap. But we had this going the other day into the gap and it failed to fill. So maybe if we can get into this larger gap again today, the $1 to 170, that could be something. But for now, we're just going to show what was the news. Partners with Vapor VM to expand reach of its advanced identity and access to management and biometric cybersecurity solutions in the Middle East and Africa. Ooh, man, I'm not a fan of the police state. I'm going to be honest. That's crazy. No negatives. Sometimes when there's no negatives, it just is because the news is so unsubstantial that, like, it doesn't mean anything positive or negative. which is pretty brutal. So, I love Stock Titan just for my news. You can just check out the live news feed and go through it ticker by ticker, right? And then, I don't like penny stocks. I don't like Chinese stocks. Um, I like low floats, right? Those are kind of my favorite. And then just, going through everything. Of course, we've got our volume scanner up as well. So just big chilling, waiting to see if our downtrend can hold and really confirm that breakout with a new high here. We got some volume imbalances we can potentially clear as well. This is a really good one here. Turn my magnet on. Boop. Right, so just an inefficiency in liquidity here, right? You see there's not a lot of orders being interacted here. We just have the wicks, a little bit of the candle, but not much. So let's get into this area, and we're just going to treat this like a gap, right? It's basically the same thing. So get into the lower band, try the consequence, the upper band, and then, maybe high of days to give us some targets between here and there, right? That's all I've got for you guys today. Nothing new on the scanner. It's all very, very slow. Um, it's just this Chinese stock, which I'm not even gonna hang out with today. It's a big one, 240 million. Did it have news? Let's just check that really quick. Because if it's got a good catalyst, maybe 33 minutes ago, automotive system reports an 80% growth in third. Okay, that's not bad, but that's not really company specific news. But they did have earnings. Oh, that's the company name, China Automotive. Never mind. Boar gullet, dude. Good revenue, right? That's nice guidance. I mean, R&D's not bad. That's a good expense to have. Selling expenses increased, I guess. North American sales, those are going to be tough to get for China. The previous administration was like kind of restricting Chinese EVs. We'll see how that works. I don't think that's terrible. Um, and then Tesla's not been doing great, and China's making pretty decent progress, I think, within their battery developments, and we'll see. We're gonna have to see how this pans out. It's a little bit of a bigger company, but they've got good earnings. Um, it's a catalyst. You could let this ride. Um, it's not a penny stock. Like it's a big company. I'm just not sold on it. We're gonna watch it though, right? It is what it is. So, yeah. Moving forward, you have a great day. Hopefully something here works out, and we'll kind of meet back tomorrow to recap it and go over anything new that happened to pop up here for us. So, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, all of that, and happy trading. We'll see you again tomorrow.